In Lesson 10.1, we're going to add and subtract polynomials. So all a polynomial is, a polynomial is just more than one term connected by addition or subtraction. So all of this has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms that are being connected by addition and subtraction. That's a polynomial. You could have 2 terms that has addition or subtraction, but it must have variables, because otherwise, if it's all numbers, you could just add the numbers together. So it has to be terms that you can't combine, okay? That's a polynomial. A degree of a polynomial is just the highest power. It's just the highest power. So this has a power of 2, this has a power of 0, this has a power of 3, and that has a power of 1. So the highest one that I see is the 3. So the degree of that polynomial is 3. Another thing you're going to be asked to do is to write polynomials in standard form. And that just means to put them in decreasing order of the powers. So highest power to lowest power. So the highest power term is this negative 2x to the third. The next one is a positive 3x squared. You want to make sure you keep the signs of everybody so that you have your addition and subtraction. Then would come a positive 6x, and then finally would be plus 5, because 5 is really like 5 times x to the 0 power, because there's no x. So, because anything to the 0 power is 1, right? So that's why the numbers or the constants always go last. So this polynomial in standard form is just like that. Highest power to lowest power, and no power is always going to be your lowest power. Okay, so pause the video if you need to before moving on. Okay, now you're going to be asked to classify polynomials in 2 ways. One, you're going to classify it by the degree, and 2, you're going to classify it by how many terms do you see. So, if you have a degree of, and the only ones that have names, anything that's above a 4, we don't name. It doesn't have a special name. We would just say degree 5, degree 6, or whatever. But if you have a degree of 0, or you have no variables, so like y equals, that's just notation. That's not actually, it's whatever comes after the equal sign. So I have no letters after the equal sign, that's called a constant. It's just a number. After the equal sign, I have 2x minus 3. The highest power is a 1, so when a degree is 1, we call that linear, because that's the equation of a line. Y equals mx plus b, so that's why we call that linear. Degree of 2, you have an x squared term. X squared terms, remember from 9.8, is a quadratic equation. A third power, if your highest power is 3, degree is 3, we call that a cubic. And the highest power is 4, we call that quartic. Because quart means 4, like 4 quarters are in $1, 4 quarts are in a gallon, and there you go. Now, if you're doing it by number of terms, I'm sorry, just made everything go away. Constant, linear, quadratic, cubic, and quartic. And yes, you're going to have to know all these names. Okay, so that's your degree. So by number of terms, if you have one term, it's just something like 4x to the third power, one term, no addition or subtraction, that is called a mono means one, monomial. Like these are polynomials, so monomial is just one term. 2 terms, let's say I have 4x plus 5x squared. If I have 2 terms, that's a binomial. Bi means 2. A bicycle has 2 wheels. We are bipeds. We walk on 2 feet. Just to throw some science in there. If you have three terms, 4x squared plus 2x minus 1, 1, 2, 3 terms, that is a trinomial, because tri means 3. And then anything more than 3 doesn't get a special name. I say 2 or more because all of these are also called polynomials, but they get a more specific name. So anything that has 2 or more terms is a poly. Poly just means more than one. So monomial is the only one that has one name. Anything 2 or more is a polynomial, but 2 and 3 get special names. Okay, so it's a lot of words to remember, but you're going to have to classify them in 2 ways. So you're going to give each of these 2 names on the assignments. Okay, so pause the video before moving on. Okay, so now how do we add these or subtract these? Which is this the end? Yeah, this is the end. Okay, so to add or subtract polynomials, first thing you want to do is you want to write everybody in standard form. And we're going to put them in a vertical format so that you can line up terms that have the same powers. So the first one's already in standard form. 2y cubed plus y squared plus 1. The second one is not in correct form. So the 3y to the third should go first. Minus y squared, and then that's a positive 2. And I'm adding these because it tells me to add right there. So now you just add straight down, but do not touch the powers because you only touch powers when you're multiplying. So 2y to the third and 3y to the third gives you 5y to the third. Positive 1y squared minus 1y squareds, those cancel. Don't put any y squareds. And then 1 plus 2 gives you a positive 3. So that would be your answer. You don't have to write them vertically if you don't want to. You could just go ahead straight from the parentheses. 2y third plus y squared plus 1 plus 2 minus y squared plus 3y cubed. You could do what's called the horizontal format and just look for the ones that have the same powers. So 2y to the third plus 3y to the third is 5y to the third. Positive y squared minus y squared is going to cancel. And 1 plus 2 makes 3. So you can do vertical or horizontal. Vertical is a little bit easier because everybody's lined up. But if you can just combine like terms from the parentheses, that's fine. Just make sure you only combine ones that have matching powers. Alright, now what about subtracting? So again, we're going to put them in order and do this in a vertical way. So the first one's not in the right order. Let's change color. Okay, first one's not in the right order, so I'm going to write 2x squared plus 5x. The next one is in the right order, but I want to make sure, oh, that should say make. Make sure powers match. Okay, so the x squared can line up here, but I can't put this plain old 3 here because he doesn't match that, so I'm going to kind of bump him over. So you can put a 0 in the place here and add a 0 here. This time I'm subtracting, and I'm subtracting everybody that came after the minus sign. So you want to distribute this negative to everybody in the second parenthesis. So this will become a minus x squared, minus 0x, and a plus 3. So we're going to change the sign of everybody in the bottom row because you're distributing that negative. And now I can just add 2x squared and negative 1x squared gives me a positive 1x squared. 5 minus 0 is 0, so I'm not going to do anything with that. Oh, I mean, it is not. What am I saying? 5 minus 0 is 5, and 0 plus 3 is 3. Now again, you could also go horizontal with this. 5x plus 2x squared, but you will need to distribute this negative. So x squared minus 3. So distribute, you get minus x squared plus 3. Now you can just bring these down and just combine any like terms. These are the only like terms I have. So 2x squared minus 1x squared is x squared. Then I have a positive 5x and a positive 3. So either way you get the same answer. It doesn't matter which format you like, vertical or horizontal, But with subtraction, just make sure that you change all your signs of whatever came after the subtraction. And that's 10-1.